Let's come to order. Will the clerk call the roll?
Petrie. Schrader.
Here.
Esri.
Here.
Berkson. Harper.
Here.
Kurtz.
Here.
Langenheim.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Well, we seem to have a quorum, so let's proceed. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting, May the 9th?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Well, I'll tell you what, I would like to have an omnibus motion on these entertainment licenses. And other than that, I guess we'll just have to go wade through all of this. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I think we're no, let's have public participation. First of all, I have no less than 9 letters, apparently from 4 families, which seem to be the same, word for word. I'll read this letter off, and then I'm going to put them on file. Proposed resolution opposing water withdrawal from the Salt Fork River or use in coal mining operations in Vermilion County. I am a landowner in Champaign County and would like to express my concern about the proposed resolution. Leasing mineral rights is a land use issue. I own the minerals below my property. I have chosen to lease my minerals for a legal business entity, for a legal business entity. As long as this business does not break the law or violate IEPA regulations, I would ask that you do not interfere with this project. If the Champaign County Board attempts to block progress for the coal mine, it impacts my rights as a landowner to sell my mineral rights. I trust that the Urbana-Champaign Sanitary District, the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, and the Department of Natural Resources will do their job to ensure that any business in the area will not deplete or degrade the water supply to the area. Coal mining is a legal business that is highly regulated and monitored for safety and environmental issues. According to the U.S. Environmental Information Agency, emissions from coal-generated electric plants have decreased 87% since 1970, while the use of coal has nearly tripled. Coal is a domestic resource that we need to create low-cost electricity, and it is abundant here in our area. Prairie State Energy Campus, right here in Illinois, is a state-of-the-art example of how coal can be used in a clean, efficient manner. Please do not attempt to stop a legitimate business based on the ideological rhetoric of special interest groups. Sincerely. And then these things are signed by a whole gang of people that appear to belong to 4 families. And some of the signatures are legible to my eyes and some are not, so we'll just let them go. I'm placing this on file as part of the public input. Okay.
Did you want to announce the
What?
time? Did you want to announce the time limit?
Oh, yes. We will devote 1 hour, no more, to the public input. That means that we will cease operations at 5 minutes past 7, and each person will have 5 minutes. But I don't think there's much of a problem. Okay. Tracy Bradley.
Barkley.
What?
Barkley. Barkley.
I don't get it.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Barkley. I'm a water resource scientist with Prairie Rivers Network. We're a nonprofit organization that strives to protect clean water and healthy rivers with and on behalf of Illinois citizens. When this proposal was initially proposed at the May meeting, there were some comments and questions posed that I'd like to take this opportunity to respond to. One, there was a question of where did the cited water volume of 750,000 to 1,008,000 gallons per day come from? I wanted to share that in August of 2012, Prairie Rivers submitted a request information under the Freedom of Information Act from the Village of Homer regarding potential water sales to Sunrise Coal for the proposed coal mine. I did email the results from that FOIA to all of the ELOC committee members today, and I have a copy tonight if anybody didn't get a chance to look at that. But you'll see in the original scoping memo to the engineering consultants that the Village of Homer was investigating potential to develop capacity to sell water to the Sunrise Coal Mine. The volume of water sought was 500 to 700 gallons per minute, which equates to 750,000 to 1,008,000 gallons per day. I'd also like to share something we learned from participating in the public meetings regarding the sale of potable water from the Village of Homer to Sunrise Coal. The original proposal, which I also have a copy of and I'll distribute after my comment, was for 2,000 to 4,000 gallons per day. What came out in the final weeks of contract development was that full capacity, the mine would need 20,000 gallons per day, not the 2,000 to 4,000 originally sought. And I want to note on the same proposal that Sunrise Coal notes that they needed a minimum of 540,000 gallons per day to meet the underground mining and coal processing needs. We would like to make sure that the county board members and our zoning administrator are provided with the correct numbers in order to support a comprehensive and responsible evaluation of potential impacts from this mining operation on our county resources. The second question was why is Vermilion County mentioned in the resolution when this is before the Champaign County Board, and why is this a Champaign County issue? First off, the mine will have surface features in both counties. The main office, portal to the underground mine, processing plant, and slurry impoundments will be located in Vermilion County. But we see the increases in both road and rail use will increase wear and tear on existing infrastructure, noise, and may be an impediment to local traffic patterns such as school bus and work routes in Champaign County. In addition, dust from the mine and slurry pits will drift in the air and settle onto the land in Champaign County to the neighboring lands. Second, it appears that surface features for the mine will be proposed for Champaign County, namely a pumping station from the Salt Fork of the Vermilion River that looks to be proposed for owned land by the Champaign County Forest Preserve District, as well as a storage reservoir, as well as relevant piping for transferring the water from the river to the mine site. That's all slated for Champaign County. And third, I think it's important to recognize that while Sunrise Coal has slated their first 5 years of operation for extraction of leased minerals in Vermilion County, they currently have mineral rights leased in Champaign County. Once this coal mine gets up and operating, it'll be very hard to prevent the mine from moving into Champaign County and mining under our prime farmland and under existing infrastructure, causing significant damage due to subsidence. The third question was, why is this needed now? Is there a rush? This resolution is needed now, as public comment periods that will be afforded down the road are very short and often inadequate. An application for a mining permit was submitted in June of 2012 by Sunrise Coal to the ID&R Office of Mines and Minerals. OMM is in the process of reviewing the permit application for completeness, and once deemed complete, will be open for a 60-day public comment period. Often what we find is that the permit application is incomplete when released to the public for review and comment, particularly with respect to impacts to water resources. This is so very important in this instance because the state consistently only requests information for the surface areas, which in this instance would be 400 acres, not the impacts to the 23,000 acres that will be mined, and certainly not to the area that we know will be impacted from a proposed withdrawal from the Salt Fork. For instance, the permit application as it's filed with the state right now does not acknowledge any vegetation other than corn, soybeans, and wheat. No groundwater springs. They deny that public water supplies exist anywhere near the mine or for that matter, there are any other surface water uses. And finally, the Sunrise Coal tells the state that they will get the large volume of water they need from capturing rainwater or will purchase it from the Village of Homer. The state needs to know now that the water has not been secured and that Champaign County is not interested in providing the mine with water from the river. Waiting for the comment period we feel is too little, too late. We ask you in your roles and your responsibilities as Champaign County Board members to stand up for our resources, our communities, and our existing investments, and please recommend that the resolution be supported and passed for consideration by the full Champaign County Board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Susan Jaworski, I believe. Yes, Suzanne Jaworski.
I'll be brief. I'm Suzanne Jaworowski. I'm a staff member with Sunrise Coal. A lot of the information that's been put out, it's been very preliminary. Much of our plans, as we have shared as much as we could as possible, even starting a meeting with Chairman Kurtz, many things are preliminary. So I just want to respond that a lot of the things that were FOIA'd and researched came from early preliminary conversations. Things are evolving as you build a construction of any kind or any business. The project evolves and the plans evolve. So that is where we are right now. But I do want to just say my point is two things. One is that our company runs a very good operation. And I think that the more you get to know us, the more you'll see that there are good people that work for Sunrise Coal. Our engineers are familiar. They know the rules. They know the regulations. We abide by the rules and we abide by the regulations. We take safety and environmental safety extremely seriously at our company. So I just want to say that on behalf of Sunrise Coal. And in advance of that, we also would like to hope for the future to have a good working relationship with all of the leaders of the communities surrounding our project that will be located in Vermilion County. So I hope that you'll be open-minded about what we have to come and plan, and that we'll be able to have a working relationship moving forward in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Who was the first person I called?
Tracy?
Okay. That's what I thought. Suzanne Smith.
My name is Suzanne Smith. I'm a rural resident of Homer, Illinois, and my husband and I farm land in the area of the proposed coal mine. As a member of the Salt Fork Watershed Implementation Committee, I attended their meeting today. It was this afternoon. Members present today, along with me, wish to convey that they have been tracking the water issues related to the proposed coal mine near Homer, receiving updates throughout this process. This committee was formed to improve Salt Fork water quality, consisting of a volunteer committee with a wide diversity of interests. Their statement to you today is, this committee is concerned about water quality and quantity and the impact of any large user or discharger entering into the Salt Fork watershed. On a personal note, I wish to convey that I hope that this committee will vote yes on the resolution opposing the Salt Fork water withdrawals for the proposed coal mine, to allow the discussion about our water resources to continue to the county level. You have a wonderful opportunity to assess and protect your water resources in this region. With the continuing cuts in the Illinois state budget, staff to address, support, and enforce EPA and IDNR regulations is becoming less and less. Please do not rely solely on the state agencies to protect our communities. Vote yes, and let the Champaign County Board continue with the discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, where is it? Oh, here it is. Steve, K-A-N-N, whatever.
Announce the address and see if anybody responds.
206 Brady Lane.
It's Francis, Steve Francis.
Okay.
Sorry. I didn't prepare any remarks. I just wanted to support what Tracy Barkley just said. And the only other thing I want to say is that considering all the recent events, even today, in the news about all our phone records being, gathered up by the government, I think we should be extremely cautious of any action by any large corporation, or for that matter, the government now. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Jeff Jurgens.
Thank you. My name is Jeff Jurgens. I'm an attorney on behalf of Sunrise Coal. I also do a lot of practice with government agencies and units of local government, and I know that a wide variety of issues come across different governing bodies like yourself. And I understand that, but I would submit to you to move forward on a resolution before you have all of the facts, all of the data, are able to complete an evaluation of it, and condemn a project without those facts would be premature. And I'm here tonight to suggest to you that moving forward on the resolution at this time would certainly be premature. As has been discussed, this is a highly regulated industry. As you may know, to get a permit to operate a coal mine, you have to go through the Department of Natural Resources. To get a permit to operate a coal mine, you have to go through the Department of Natural Resources. There is a long process involved with that. Various steps, other agencies are involved with it. As part of that process, Sunrise Coal will have to submit a plan, and a final plan will have to be formulated. That final plan is not yet ready. When it is ready, it'll be published, it'll be made public, and then Department of Natural Resources will hold public hearings on it. So I would submit that it again is premature at this point in time to pass judgment on a project before the county board members can evaluate and address and understand all of the facts. The resolution before you tonight, I would submit, has a lot of conclusionary statements. It doesn't have a lot of facts. It doesn't have a lot of data. One of the statements within the resolution says that Sunrise Coal has sought to use between 750,000 and 1 million gallons of water from the Salt Fork a day, and in reality, that's just not true. Sunrise Coal does not have a proposal on the table to use any water from the Salt Fork River at this time. So again, I think that it's premature. I would encourage you to wait and get all of the facts, the plan, everything will be forthcoming. And at that point in time, if there is something that's going to impact Champaign County, certainly as the other representative from Sunrise Coal indicated, we'd be happy to sit down and meet and discuss and address any issues that you have. But it would be our hope and expectation that we think eventually we'll have the support of Champaign County. But we certainly think at this point in time it is too premature to condemn a project without knowing all of the facts and having all of the data. With that, we just ask that you allow the government process, the regulatory process that is set up through the state of Illinois, the Department of Natural Resources, the EPA, to let that run its course before any formal action or decisions are made by the Champaign County Board. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? In that case, public input is terminated. All right. We have 4 applications for recreation and entertainment licenses. Oh, excuse me, are there any communications? Yes, sir.
Here, thank you. Just to emphasize, you received some letters on public participation. Just to communications, I know some of us have received other emails. I have at least 9 emails in support of this resolution this evening. I will print them out and put them on public file. I just wanted to recognize the fact that I've been getting letters, phone calls concerning this, and not one of them actually in support of the water coming from the Salt Fork. All of the emails I received were in opposition and in support of our resolution tonight.
Is it your intent to append these to the minutes?
Yeah, I will amend. I will print them out and have them turned over.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, we have 4 applications for recreation and entertainment licenses. 3 of them are in the agenda, items 7A, B, and C. The 4th is probably on your desk. It's from the county fair. I would entertain an omnibus motion approving all of them.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right. Item 7E, request for approval for allocation of hours, fiscal year 2013 planning contract, general planning services request, CCRPC tasks related to Wilbur Heights subdivision.
Susan, is that the, Susan Chavarria is here. Susan Chavarria.
Okay, Susan?
Good evening. I think that you're all aware of that the Wilbur Heights subdivision up
Could you
off.
turn on your,
Will do. Thank you. The Wilbur Heights subdivision up off North Market Street by the mall in Champaign has had repeated issues with drainage and flooding and planning and zoning issues over the years. And with the most recent flooding event in March, there's been some press and desire to move forward to try to help mitigate some of the issues in that subdivision. As part of the planning contract that the county board approved last year that extends through the end of this year, Regional Planning Commission would like to offer to use some of the general planning service request hours that are available there. There's approximately 295 hours available to help the county mitigate some of the issues in the Wilbur Heights subdivision. And in the memo in your packet, we've outlined a few things that we believe we can help with if you are interested. The first would be to conduct in-person interviews with residents and businesses in the subdivision to try to help us focus on what their prioritized issues are, and then to help create just a report that synthesizes all of those factors so that you can think on them and know exactly what's coming from all the different parties in that subdivision. We estimate that this could take about 75 to 100 hours out of that 295 that are still available for this year. The second item would be to conduct an income survey, which is a prerequisite for applying for the CDAP, Community Development Assistant Program funding through the Illinois DCEO. And a survey of households, it's 7 questions. It takes about 2 minutes per household, done door to door, and also can be done via mail. We think this could take about 25 hours to complete, and it would determine whether the subdivision's residents qualify for what is low to moderate income threshold for CDAP funding. And with that, we can determine whether to proceed with a grant application on behalf of that subdivision. And then the third thing would be to actually proceed with applying for what would be a first round of CDAP funding for design engineering. And depending on what comes through, we would anticipate that would be about storm drainage and or sanitary sewer issues. And then the fourth thing would be to look into proceeding, if you get the design engineering funding, and then in the following year maybe doing a grant for construction funding to make improvements. So that would be kind of a longer term phasing of how that could work out. The number 4 item on here is that the city of Champaign is going to look into doing some storm drain cleanup and some small improvements along the southernmost street in the subdivision later this year. So we just wanted to help them coordinate perhaps between the county and their efforts so that if there's something that the county can do for the other streets in the subdivision, perhaps we can piggyback onto their project. So it would just be a coordination effort with them. And then finally, we have on the planning and zoning side, we recommend maybe working with University of Illinois students. The Department of Urban and Regional Planning at the university, they often do semester or year-long courses related to community projects. They've been out to a variety of our smaller communities and also have done things in Champaign and Urbana. And perhaps we can get them to do a class specifically about the Wilbur Heights subdivision. And we are asking perhaps that County Board member Patsy Petrie, who is worked with the department for many years. Maybe she can help coordinate that kind of effort. And she has actually agreed to do so. I had a discussion with her via email just yesterday, and she's agreed to help out with that in that regard. So I guess what we're asking is if you would like Regional Planning Commission to make use of some of the currently available hours toward one or all of these different efforts that we recommend.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve this?
Mr. Kurtz has a question.
What?
Mr. Kurtz.
Oh,
We'll need a motion first
yeah.
to approve, and then we'll have a discussion. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this
Okay.
request.
Okay.
Now, ma'am.
Now, would you like to
Thank you.
discuss the matter?
Thank you, Ralph. Wilbur Heights has been an orphan child for a long, long, long time. Many, many years, we've seen the flooding, we've seen the sewer problems. It's almost as if we've forgotten that they were there. It's time for us to do our public duty and help the people of this neighborhood. They're not in my district, but that doesn't matter. It's part of our community. So I'm not looking for any votes. But the key is here that they deserve to have our attention, and I think this is a good way to start this planning process. So I'm in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Any further comments? You?
Yeah, don't mind. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I know, like Al said, that, yeah, Wilbur Heights has had issues, and I think, yeah, it is time to, go along. I know we did some zoning stuff last year, I believe it was, with some of the regulations and stuff, and it's just time to, help them along, because they are kind of, as you said, the stepchild that's out there and doesn't get the attention that's needed. So I think I'd be in favor of this and get some things happening in that area.
Any?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Susan, how long, maybe I missed it here on your report. How long do you think you'll need to complete the study?
Which part are you referring to exactly?
Well, the whole study.
Well, with the first two items, which would be the in-person interviews and the income survey, would take approximately 125 hours.
Right.
And we have about 295 yet available for this year. But that when we get into the CDAP funding, that's where things get a little bit more shady in terms of how much time it would take. I believe that somewhere in the 50 to 75 hour range for completing a grant application for CDAP, one application would be about right. For the design engineering part, that first one. Now, in order to do the work with the University of Illinois students, it could take perhaps 3 to 6 months to determine what they can do for us and to establish a class or a project. And then from there, it depends on how long it would take, but I would assume a semester-long project would be sufficient to get this planning work done with them. So within a year or so.
Within a year, okay. And RPC will present the county board with all your findings in once you've accumulated all the data and information?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And I also want to make clear, with the county funding, the county planning contract, the funds are typically done at the end of the fiscal year. With the CDAP application, the design engineering application is typically due, I believe, in April of every year. So if we want to use as many of the hours as we can in this current fiscal year, and I don't know if it would be a problem, if necessary, to continue those hours into the next year in light of the grant application funding cycle.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. This is me or her?
You.
I think so. CCR Regional Planning Commission County Planning Contract Status Update for fiscal year 13, and Champaign County Regional Planning Commission County Planning Contract Proposal for fiscal year 14. Work items for county planning are proposed for fiscal year 14. CCRPC staff would appreciate suggestions from committee members regarding this proposed contract work plan for fiscal year 14, including the LRMP implementation work class. The work plan will be on the August agenda for approval and incorporation into the fiscal year 14 budget. Can we have a motion to place this on file? Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Did you want any comments from Susan?
What?
Did you want comments from Susan?
Do we need any comments?
In my previous meetings with you all in other years, we've actually gone through this one by one and discussed every single item on this work plan and offered it for your suggestions. I'd be happy to do that, or at your pleasure, what you'd like to do.
Okay. Any further comment by the committee? None. Okay. The zoning case 743-AT-13. This case is related to the recent zoning case involving the Sangamon Valley Public Water District near Mahomet. The case was deferred at the May 9th meeting to allow time to develop alternative language with staff from the city of Urbana in the hope of preventing a municipal protest. Affirmative language is proposed, but municipal protests are still likely. A letter was received from the village of Mahomet on May 15th, 2013 that attempted to clarify the village position with regard to annexation, but the amendment is still needed. The case is ready for a final recommendation to the county board. Can we have a motion on this? Do we have any discussion on this?
I would just recommend the committee be specific if they're recommending the amended language that we worked out working with the city staffs, make sure that you're explicit about that.
Yes, my motion is specific on that issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Astrid.
Okay, we got a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we get down to the nitty-gritty. Wait a minute, no, we don't either. Where are we?
We're at 10B, or 9B.
Oh, I see. We have a resolution opposing the water withdrawal for Salt Fork of the Vermilion River. Proposed resolution opposing water withdrawal for Salt Fork of the Vermilion River for coal mine use in Vermilion County. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion on this matter?
Yes. I know we heard a lot of comments on this committee, particularly opposed to any removal of water for anything in particular from Salt Fork, but I think that the important point is that this board doesn't have any jurisdiction over water removal. It doesn't have any jurisdiction over coal mines. And subsequently, we can create any resolution and bring it here and talk about and discuss it, and it can be here, but I don't think it's worth taking to the full board because there's absolutely nothing this board can do about it. There's no zoning case in front of us about the coal mine because most of this resolution deals with the coal mine. There's nothing here. We can talk about the LRMP because there's two sides to it. There's protection of natural resources, and then there's also the side of we want to encourage development of mineral rights also. So I was concerned the last ELUC meeting about the veracity of how this thing just came about. And my point wasn't taken well. It was taken to the point that it just showed up here, and I didn't see it 2 days until this meeting started. It was here a week before the ELUC meeting. And if something this important needed to be here, it should have been here before a week, before a meeting. So that was really one of my big concerns about it, was it just showed up. Now, I know we've done things in the past, but they've been particularly important to the county from the standpoint of something we can do from a policy standpoint, because that's basically what we are. We're a glorified policy board. We're not a legislative body. We're a policy board. So with that being said, I'm not going to support this, and I oppose it.
Any further comment?
I just wanted to make sure committee members were looking at the latest version of the resolution. There was one sent out in an email with more corrections.
Concurring with John that there's nothing we can do about it. One thing that I guess sticks with me about this proposed resolution is that, to me, it's not entirely just about the water withdrawal. It's basically, it should be more aptly titled, the way it's written, "We oppose coal." And as a county, I'm not ready to say that, especially when, like John says, LRMP says we want to encourage mineral right developments. We haven't resolved that in our own policies yet. So if we've got that in there, how can we support this, which basically to me says, the way I read it, we oppose coal as opposed to we oppose water withdrawal for coal. And largely based on that, I don't believe I can support this resolution either.
Any further comment? Yes, sir.
Living out near that area and having discussions with several of the rural farmers, which I also am a farmer, I had major concerns. I've had a lot of discussions with those people about the water. I do have concerns. But in a discussion I had last week, I do not know what the sanitation district's going to do about selling water. It was brought to my attention that there's several major industries on the west side of Champaign that the sanitation district is thinking about diverting, whether they sell water or not, to the Kaskaskia. I've had mixed emotions on this since the last meeting. I do agree with the gentleman, the attorney, that they do have the right to present all their information to us before anything official's done. I mean, everybody's entitled to their side of the story. It's a tough decision for me, and I'm still thinking about it.
Thank you. Stan, you make some good points. And John and Aaron does as well, and so do the gentleman from Coal Mine who stated that we don't have the facts yet. So what I'd like to do is amend my motion and defer this until all the facts are in. And I hope you will work with me on that and have a second.
Whoever second, did you second it? Yeah. You concur with what he? Yes, I do. Okay, well then.
And I'd like to discuss deferment until, as Stan said, we can get all the facts on the table, so we would be able to make a decision based on research information rather than on emotion. If that sounds good to you, I hope you would support that.
Might I ask, do you have a date to which you prefer it?
Until we can get further information.
So
I don't have a date in mind, but. What's that?
It hangs on the receipt of further information.
Receipt of information on exact numbers as to if an application is put in by the coal mine and how much water they want to remove from the Salt Fork. It might be a different number than we're even thinking about here, so we don't know.
Since we're not having July meeting. The
Right.
earliest we could do this then would be August.
That would be fine.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? Any further questions, comments?
Just wondering, we haven't voted on it yet to defer or the original motion, but if it were to go down in defeat, would there be any reason another resolution like this couldn't be brought up again later? I mean, that would just be one way, should it get defeated.
Anyone that voted against it would be able to vote to reconsider. A person who voted for it could not move to reconsider. But I can't see any reason why another motion, differing in wording perhaps, couldn't be introduced. Okay, any further comment? Yes.
Well, if we're all agreed that we don't know what we're talking about, then why would we vote on it?
The chair is not allowed to make editorial comments, but I'm grinning from ear to ear. Any further comments?
What's the motion?
The motion is to defer until we know what we're talking about.
Take a roll call, please.
Okay, roll call vote.
This is to defer.
Yes.
This is to defer.
I don't know if August will be even enough time, and that's my comment on picking August.
John, do you have a timeline, or we suspend the rules and ask the gentleman how long he thinks it's going to take? Maybe we can do it that way.
Well, there's nothing wrong with deferring it until we get the information.
Okay, we can do it open-ended.
Sure, why not? We can take it off the table anytime we want to.
That's right. He's correct. We can do that. So let's leave it open-ended.
Okay.
Get information.
Are we ready to take a vote? Okay, sound off.
Schrader,
No.
Esri,
No.
Bergson,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Langenheim.
Yes,
The yeses
so
have
it's
it.
going to be deferred. All right. We have a bunch of stuff to be approved by the ZBA. For referral to the ZBA, proposed.
Susan is here to talk.
What?
Susan is here to talk about it.
Okay, fire away.
Okay, this item before you is a correction, proposed text amendment to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals here at the county to consider a minor correction to Appendix A of the recent LISA update. And that was approved by the county board back in November of last year. And this February, late February and March, we received information from the acting state soil scientist that he had discovered some errors in state data. So the memorandum you have before you lists those changes. They're relatively minor, but he's a stickler for detail and listed out these changes. They are changes to the 3 soils classifications that we used in our agriculture value group table in Appendix A. None of the changes impact the first 4 ag value groups, which comprise, in one form or another, the definition of best prime farmland. So none of the minor adjustments affect that definition. There would be proposed minor changes to ag value groups 7, 8, and 17, which the attachment to this memo contains the revised ag value group table A. So those corrections would be reviewed by the Zoning Board of Appeals here at the county. Also, the second correction is simply a labeling correction to be consistent with the USDA NRCS farmland classification categories, more consistent and not a compressed table as was used in our LISA update. So that's the request. Mr. Hall wants this to go before the Zoning Board of Appeals to be carefully reviewed there, just to be sure everyone is happy and satisfied.
Okay, any discussion on this matter? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Is there somebody going to talk about this?
I can if they have questions.
Okay. Okay, we have a proposed zoning ordinance text amendment to adopt new floodplain maps and new special flood hazard area ordinance. See flood maps, blah, 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 blah. Does anybody have any comments on this? The key thing on this is there's no substantive change to the situation. It's just bringing things into order, correct?
No, actually, this project will remove many, actually thousands of acres from the floodplain. It's going to bring in a few new acres also, so there's going to be a few landowners that didn't know they were in the floodplain, but finding out about it now rather than when it floods is a good thing. And this is much better data than we've had previously.
Okay. Any questions, comments? So moved. Second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I think that pretty much. Do we have any monthly reports?
April. April.
April. Oh, for April 2013. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any other opposed? Motion carried. All right. Do we have any other business? Apparently not. Chair's report, this has been an interesting evening. Items to be placed on the consent agenda are
9A.
9A. And that's it. The entertainment licenses. Okay. Are we going to cancel the July ELUC committee meeting? Anybody want to hold a meeting in July?
John, do you see anything upcoming that we need to have, would need to have a meeting? I assume you'd let us know ahead of time, but.
There is a possibility that if the county board approves the text amendment, case 743, on the 20th of this month, that variance hearing is scheduled for the following week, the 27th. Now, we all know that that water plant expansion is a critical project, but if the county board approves it, the text amendment, and if the ZBA recommends approval in that one hearing, you could hold a July meeting to deal with that variance case, or you could wait until August.
Well, if we wait until August, what will happen?
If the committee is comfortable doing that.
That's what typically happens in July, is the matters that would normally go through committee come directly to the county board if they're for county board approval.
Do we need a decision if that thing passes? Do we need it in August? Is it imperative that we decide it right away?
I'd have to leave that up to the Sangamon Valley representatives, but I know they would like to get this decision settled.
Well, in that case, if it passes, I think we should meet.
Or we can just bring it directly to the county board.
Okay, fine, just so long as that's taken care of. So there's no need for this committee to meet. Okay. Sounds good to me. In July. What? In July. Keep going. Can I have somebody call for an adjournment? Do I hear a second to that? She done. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Praise be.